So when your ancestors dwelt on the other side of the world, because everything was over there, what do they call this? The West, the New World, right? So when your ancestors, when we were on the other side of the world, your ancestors decided, hey, listen, you know who? When the Bible mentions heathen, it's talking about all nations outside of the 12 tribes of Israel. All right. So our ancestors decided to leave the heathens because we were surrounded by heathens. We became slaves to them. All right, so our ancestors said this, read. What's your name, man? Gio. Hey, I'm Eleazar, Gio. So what we just read was a very, very heavy scripture. You familiar with the Bible? Not so much. You believe that you believe in the Bible to some extent?
I don't have as much experience with it to answer.
That's cool. That's all right, bro. We're gonna deal with you because a lot of our people don't understand that the Bible is really about. When I say our people, by the way, you said Geo. When I say our people, look at this sign right here. Where you see yourself at over here?
I'm Puerto Rican. I'm like the good cousin.
Right. Okay. That's what's up, bro. The Puerto Ricans, according to the Bible, they come from the tribe of Ephraim, right? Because the Puerto Ricans, how does it go? Boricuas, right? Boricuas, what is that? Brave and noble warrior. A lot of people don't know that the history of the Puerto Ricans is actually in the Bible. And you know why that is, bro?
Right.
Because the Puerto Ricans, their history, they are the Jews, they are the 12 tribes of Israel. That's what the whole Bible is about. Let me get that in 2nd Esdras. 2nd Esdras chapter 10. My bad, chapter 13 and 40. Because what you need to understand, Gio, is that the so-called Hispanics, right? The so-called Puerto Ricans, your nation, right? Your nation led the other Hispanics over here on this side of the world because everything began over there in Europe, right? Not Europe, but you know, Africa, right? Northeast Africa. That's where your people originally dwelt. But then I'm gonna read right here, Gio, how your ancestors got here because you're related to the Native Indians. Did you know that, bro? You related to the African Americans. You knew that? You knew that? Yeah. All right, bro. It's all right. We're going to read it to you so that way when you open up the Bible, you could be able to show it. So you could be able to know it for yourself and teach your people. Now, stay in the front. I tell you this. After we read this, I'll show it to you. I'll have them show it to you, take your picture, all right? Just pay attention for now. Go ahead.
The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 13 and verse 40. These are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osei the king, whom Salmanasseh, the king of Assyria, led away captive.
So this is going into the history of the so-called Puerto Ricans, Gio. So what I want you to do, look at this sign right here, man. Take a look at this right here real quick. So Gio, when you see this sign right here, tell me what do you see, man? What you see right here? Because I want to connect the dots with you, bro. Well, tell me what you see. What group of people you're looking at right here? You said Native Americans. All right, you want to describe what you see going on right here? Could you, if you look closer, you got an idea of what's going on right here? Yeah, they're killing them. So this is what happened in the Hispanic islands of Puerto Rico, of Cuba. Do you know who these people are right here? Who's killing these people? So these are the conquistadors. You familiar with the conquistadors? The Spanish conquistadors? You heard of Christopher Columbus, right? You heard of him. Right, what about Hernan Cortez? Ponce de Leon. You never heard of Ponce de Leon? But you heard of Christopher Columbus. So he was one of them. They came from Europe. This is why we fled from, this is why your ancestors left that side to come here. Because we was facing persecution in the times of old as well, in the past as well. But this is something that happened recently, and I'm going to connect the dots, so I want you to pay attention. Read.
These are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osei the king, whom Salmanasseh, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters. And so they came into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen.
You hear that? So when your ancestors dwelt on the other side of the world, because everything was over there, what do they call this? The West, the New World, right? So when your ancestors, when we were on the other side of the world, your ancestors decided, hey, listen, you know who? When the Bible mentions heathen, it's talking about all nations outside of the 12 tribes of Israel. All right. So our ancestors decided to leave the heathens because we were surrounded by heathens. We became slaves to them. All right. So our ancestors said this, read.
And go forth into a further country.
They said, let us leave who?
But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country.
Yeah, that they said we're gonna go to a further country. You see what I'm saying? So read on.
Where never mankind dwelt.
Where what?
Never mankind dwelt.
Why do you think they called this side of the world the New World? At least Christopher Columbus and the Europeans. Why do you think they called this region the New World? Read that part again where it says, where never
mankind dwelt.
Because this side of the world, they understood that they thought that nobody made it here. But when they read the scriptures, when they read this, guess what? They understood that, damn, the Israelites would be here. Because this is what they're talking about. They're talking about going to this place right here. We're reading right now. Go ahead.
That they might dare keep their statues, which they never kept in their own land.
You hear that? And that was the reason for it, you know. When they say statutes, do you know what it means when it says statutes? Read that part again. It says, well, we can keep our statutes. Read that again.
That they might dare keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
So statutes is referring to like laws and like pretty much living like laws of society and your heritage pretty much. So we had our own heritage, right? Like if you go to any other nation, right? Like the Chinese, if you go to China, they got like culture and tradition that was passed down. You feel what I'm saying, bro? And they try to preserve it because that makes them who they are. Likewise with us, we had a unique commandment that we live by. You know what that commandment is found at? It's found in the Bible.
Right.
Like, you ever heard of Hanukkah? You never heard of Hanukkah?
Hanukkah, yeah.
Yeah, you heard of Hanukkah. But do you know that belongs to us? That's actually a holiday that belongs to us. Do you know that? Man, ain't no Hispanic out there keeping Hanukkah. Would you agree? Nah, bro. Why is that? Y'all was taught different because of this right here. That's why I was showing you. These conquistadors, they're called, that means, in Spanish, conquistador means conquer. When they came, that's why your people speak Spanish. You understand that? Spanish ain't from, your people was never speaking Spanish. But finish that scripture.
And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them.
So it's showing you how your ancestors got here. It said, so you know the Euphrates River? You know where that's at? Where's the Euphrates River located at, bro? Where? Point to it. Right. Like this region right here. So this is where your ancestors were living at during this time. All right? This is before Jesus Christ walked the earth. So this was way back. That's why when they came in, they're like, how the Mayans already here? You feel me? But the Europeans were confused. They're like, damn, how these people made it here already? But we're reading about it right here. This is way long time back. Read on.
For the Most High then showed signs for them.
Because God was dealing with our ancestors, man. That's how we made it to this side of the world. Read.
And held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
And you hear how long it took for our ancestors to get here? How long did it say? A year and a half. You feel me? Why is that? Because back then we ain't had no planes. There wasn't no triple American Airlines. Nah, they didn't, because they had to go through the oceans. They had to pass through great waters. So they had to go by ship. You feel me? And that took a year and a half because we came with our families, our wives, you hear me? Our children. So that means you had to make stops and everything. So it took that time for a reason. Read.
And the same region is called Osirith.
And then the Bible says this region is called Osirith. All right, so what I want to do. Yes, sir. So give me Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 37. This is why our ancestors are living following the religions of Catholicism. I want to show that to you before we wrap up, so you can understand we are the Israelites. We learned the wrong way here when we became slaves in Puerto Rico, in America. We learned the ways of our oppressors. Read the way it says you're going to serve other gods. 64.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
So we got scattered among all the nations through slavery. You hear that, bro? Some of the Puerto Ricans was sent to Hawaii for it was like to grow bananas over there as slaves during the mid 60s. All right, 1960s, 70s, around that time, bro. Read.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth, even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods.
We're gonna have to serve other gods when God would scatter us. He scattered us through slavery. That's why they shipped us to Africa. They shipped us to the islands. Read.
Which neither thou nor thy fathers have known.
And that's how we learned the religions of today of Catholicism. It was forced on you by your parents. They didn't know better, but guess what? The conquistadors forced it on them. Read.
Even wood and stone.
All right, so my brother Gio, I hope you understand that, bro. You're not a Hispanic. You're an Israelite. Understand that, but you got to look into it and learn more about it. Give me Matthew 26 and 6. Because why? All these years, man, generations, we've been taught lies. That we supposed to be following the religions of our oppressors. That this is the image of Christ. You can't find that in the Bible. But people believe that thing. They every night pray to it.
Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.
And finally, my brethren, be strong enough.